I would like to greet everybody today, and I'll tell you my name. My real name is Sago Gwenyungbas, and I belong to the Bear Clan of the Akwesasne Mohawk people. My English name is Tom Porter. I'm going to try to recall some of the things that the older people, my grandmother and grandfathers and uncles and aunts and mother told me as I was growing up. And it comes from our tradition. And so to everybody who's going to be listening to this, I think first that our minds should come together as though we were one person. And then our Creator, which is in everything that lives, all humans, all animals, all birds, everything that lives, the Creator is in their body, and together, all of the life in this earth, this Mother Earth, together combined is what we call our Creator. So our Creator is part of every life. And so with that in mind, we shall gather our minds together as one, and shall put in front of us symbolically and spiritually many greetings, thank yous, and kindness. And we will give it to our Creator for the miracle that we are still born, we are still here living. So to our Creator we say thank you, and our mind is agreed. And the people, you will say to or yes. And then at the beginning of the world, the Creator said that the earth is going to be our mother, and that He gave her the power to give birth to all life. And then when she gives birth to all life, then she will also nurse or give us food from her garden. And so every day when we eat, morning, noon, or night, the food that we eat and put in our mouth, it comes from our Mother the Earth's garden. And so our Mother the Earth has never failed what the Creator told her. She is the one that provides our sustenance every single day since the day we were born until the day we're ready to leave in death. And so because of that, I ask that the people listening to this video and this gathering, that our minds shall come as one, and we shall symbolically and spiritually put before us many thank yous and many greetings and many kindness and love, and we will, as a people of one mind, pick that big greetings and thank you and love up, and we will gently give it to our Mother the Earth, and we will say, Mother Earth, today we thank you for giving us birth, and we thank you for giving us the food from your body so that we may live. And Mother Earth, thank you that you have never abandoned us or threw us away, we who are your children. With one mind and with love we say thank you, and our mind is agreed. And the people will all acknowledge, and they will say to or thank you or yes. And then it is also that the Creator made all of the vegetation, such as trees and medicines that grow in a swamp next to the river's edges and in the hills and the mountains and the valleys. And for every sickness that there is, our grandparents told us that for every sickness that animals or birds or people will get, there is a medicine somewhere that's growing that can take away that sickness. And if we are spiritually aligned, that communication can be given to us, and those medicines will heal our people. And so, to everything that grows in the whole Mother Earth, the trees, the forests, the herbs, the medicines, everything, we send our thank you and our greetings and our love to them, and our mind is agreed, and then the people will say to or yes. And then up above, the birds are singing, and the eagle, who is their leader, and the Creator said that what they will do is they will greet the sun every morning when the dawn comes, and then the sun shines his face, The birds have already been instructed by the Creator that they will face the east every morning, and they will sing their hundreds of beautiful songs to greet the morning sun and the miraculous new day. And the birds have never forgotten that. And our grandmother said that whenever the sun begins to shine in the morning and the birds are singing, that there is nobody in all the world that can sing better than the birds that greet the sun every morning. And those birds were told to do that by the Creator so that they will shake our minds of the animals and the people so that boredom will not find a home or lonesomeness in our body, but instead we will hear the joyful songs of the birds. We will be reminded how good it is to live on this Mother Earth. And so every morning, no matter how cold or how hot it is, winter or summer, the birds will sing. They never forgot the way the Creator told them. And so we say to the birds of the world, we thank you for your songs and the joy that you bring us. And our mind is agreed, and the people says told. And then in the sky world, there are the four winds that bring the changing of the seasons. And there goes on more than that, but I will do the Reader's Digest form about that, is that they are the one that bring the changing of the season. And then in the west, there lives the what we call the thunder beings, and the Creator said that the thunder beings will be our grandfathers, and they will periodically come to visit us in our life. And when they come to visit us, they will thunder their voice across the sky, and they will shoot their arrows of fire, that's called lightning, to burn the impurities of the atmosphere, so that the air will be fresh for the living people and all life. And so the thunder grandfathers will periodically visit us, and when they do, they will bring fresh, clean water to refill the rivers and streams of where we live. And so this past summer, the thunder grandfathers have done their job as they have done since the beginning of time. And so we say thank you with love to them. And our mind is agreed, and the people said to or yes. And then above there, it's the sun. And we call the sun our old brother, the sun. And he's the one, it is our grandmother who said that the light of the sun, or the rays of the sun, are the fingers and the hands and the arms of our Creator. And every day when the light of the sun shines upon us, then that means that the Creator is embracing our entire body from our head to our feet, because our Creator loves us, because we are living, and we are the children of the Creator. And through the light of the sun, the Creator hugs us, because He's our Father. And so to the sun, we say thank you, and our mind is agreed, and the people says to or yes. And then there's another sun that shines at night time. We call her our grandmother. And our grandmother is the one who brought life to us. And so our grandmother, the moon, is the one who is in charge of all women of all races of the whole world. And that's why women have their monthly cycle, so that their body can get ready, so that a little baby can begin their journey to be born on this earth. And it is also, our grandma and uncle said, that the grandmother moon raises the oceans up and down every day. And so the moon has a big power, and she is called our grandmother. And we were born, and our children and grandchildren are born, because she still fulfills her job that the Creator gave to her. And so we, the people who are the grandchildren, will become of one mind, and we will send our thank you and greetings to our grandmother, the moon, for the birth of our children and grandchildren. And our mind is agreed, and the people said to or yes. And then to the stars that beautify the nighttime sky, and then to the four sacred beings the helpers and the protectors of the human people and all the life that's on this earth. To those four sacred beings who are the helpers of our Creator, we say thank you with love to them. And then finally to our Creator, the one who made a perfect world and said that we will always be grateful and we will always be observant of all the things that they give us that we may live. And because of all that life that is combined together in its totality is what we call or define as the Creator. This Creator made a perfect world, and all He asks is that every day we say thank you for the miracle of our birth, our life. And so with that, we the people will put our minds together, and symbolically we will place before us many, many layers of thank you, greetings, and love. And then we together will pick this up and throw it into the universe. And we say, Creator, we thank you that we are still living and all the things you gave us, that we have a good life. And our mind is agreed. And the people said, told. And everybody said, yes. And so that's the way our grandmothers and grandfathers and our leaders told us when we were growing what we must do before we have meetings or conferences. And this what I just did is called a Thanksgiving address, or the Ahondo Kalihodekwa. And translated, it means what you say before you discuss any important issues or matters. And then when it's finished, they will do the same again to close it, so that what you do in a meeting will be embraced by the Creator and the power of the universe that we live in. So I have done that opening for us today. Now I'm going to tell you what I remember that my grandmother and my uncles used to say in our discussions as I was a young guy. I asked them one time about leaders, about chiefs. In our language, the Mohawk language, we don't have what you call chiefs. That's a very, almost, my uncle said, a downgrading word when you say chief in the English language. Like a commander-in-chief or the fire chief or the buck stops here kind of thinking. That's the connotation that chief has. So in my language, in the Mohawk language, Iroquois dialects, we call our leaders, the men leaders, Luyane. And that word Luyane, taken apart, it comes from the word Yoyanele, which means nice or good. So when you say Luyane, the lo part means it's a singular masculine. Lo ya ne. It means he who is of the nice, or he who is of the good. And that's how you define when we say a leader, lo ya ne. And if it's a woman, we say yago ya ne. It means it's a female singular, and she is of the good or of the nice. But in English, they usually call that clan mothers. But in the Mohawk, we call it Yakuyane. And if it's a man, Luyane. Those people who are of the good. That's the definition. And then I asked one time my uncle, who's now passed on to the spirit world, how can you tell a Luyane or a leader, a man or a woman leader? How can you know? How do you know that? And here's what he said to me, and I never forgot that. And that imagery of what he said stays with me today after all of these years, just as clear as if he was standing with me today. He said how you can tell a real Luyane leaders, be it man or woman. He said, let's say that we were walking on a beautiful green lawn or grass or something, and immediately at that time I thought, Oh, it sounds like he's talking about a golf course where the American and Canadian people plays golf because they manicured those lawns so beautiful green. That's what it came to me that time. But I don't think he was talking about that. But that's what I thought. He said if we were walking on the beautiful field of green grass and the grass is waving with the wind like dancing in all beautiful green field. He said, and as you and I are walking on this field, all of a sudden, he said, we got to the middle of this beautiful green grass that the wind is making dance in the wind. And then right in the middle, there is a small little garden, and in this little tiny garden, there's a rose growing. And this rose has a beautiful green leaves. And these leaves of the rose, drops of water, morning dew on it. And on the stem of the rose bush is growing a beautiful red rose. And it's such a scarlet colored rose. He said, now, you don't need to go to school, kindergarten or first grade or high school or college to know this. He said, because if we're walking and we see this rose growing in the middle of this beautiful field, you know and we know that that's the most beautiful sight that you could ever see, and you will know how beautiful it is. That's how you know a leaders. They're like a rose growing by themselves amongst all the big field of green grass. It's different, and it's really beautiful, and it takes your attention, and that's how you know it's a real leaders. That's what he told me. And you don't have to have an education. The education, already you were born with it. The Creator gave it to you. And that was his comment. And then later on, I discussed what's the leaders and where they come from. And of course, the Iroquois, the Haudenosaunee people, we are a matrilineal people. We follow the woman. And the children that are born, whatever your mother is, if my mother is a Mohawk and my father is a Seneca, then all the children of the Mohawk woman are Mohawks. Even though their fathers are Cayuga or Oneida, they're not Oneida or Seneca or Cayuga, their mothers are Mohawk, so their children are Mohawks. And myself, my father's an Oneida guy, and my mother's an Akwesasne Mohawk. So me and my brothers and sisters, we were born all Mohawks, like my mother. And we belong to the Bear Clan. And my grandmother said that when leaders are chosen, clan mothers or the men leaders, kauluyane, or referred to sometime in English as chiefs, which isn't a good word, but that's what a lot of people knows them as, that the leader, man or woman, they have to have a clan from their mother first, primarily. And then, in order to be a clan mother or a leader, a chief, they also have to have another clan. And this clan has to be coming from the father. So, a Bear Clan person is not to marry another Bear Clan. Or Wolf Clan people, when they marry, are not to marry another wolf. That's considered incest. And so when you look for a leader, men and women, they have to have two clans that are different. It can't be the same. Otherwise, it will disqualify them to be leaders. And then also, my uncle and grandmother said that leaders, men and women leaders, have been chosen by the Creator when they're born. They're already have already been selected by the Creator to be a man leader or a woman leader by the Creator when they're born. So leadership is destined at birth. They're given the natural ability in their body and their blood. I guess you'd call it DNA, that they're going to be leaders. And then in our law, called the Gayanalasaleko, the great law, the great nice law, it tells in there the qualities that a leader, man or woman leader, has to have in order to become a leader. You have to find out if they were destined or chosen by the Creator at birth to become leaders. And how you will know this is that that man and woman, from a little child, as they grow into a little boy or a little girl, and then they become a teenager boy and a girl, and then they become men and then parents, that from birth all the way to their growth, they will possess traits, and they will be people who are community-minded. They will always try to help the community, even as little children. And then also that these ones who are to be leaders, how you will recognize them is when that woman or that man gets married. And in order to become a leader, they have to be married. You don't put leaders up until they're married. And when they get married, they have to be married for their life. They can't have different partners. The only way they can do that is if one partner passes away, and then they can get married again up to 3 times, but only if one passes away. But the law that my grandmother followed, even though we can legally marry after our wife or the wife's husband dies, you can get married 2 more times. That's what the law is. But my grandmother follows the older law, the original law, the law of the eagle, she called it. That when the eagles mate together, they never, if one of them dies, the man eagle will fly the rest of his life, never to get another mate. He will die by himself. They only mate one partner. And that's the way the real old Iroquois, my grandmother said, would do it. And she says that leads to a strong nation of respectability, of strong family, if you can do that. But you are allowed to marry if somebody dies. But a leader has to be married and has to be, my language they call it, means that he has to be consistent and stay with that husband or wife. And then a leader, my elders said, my grandma and uncle said, and my chief said, has to have skin that's 7 spans thick. Like if you take a deer hide and you skin a deer and you just set it there, and after you skin it out and take the flesh off and it dries, it will become real hard. It's a rawhide. And if you take 7 of those deer rawhide skins together, they say that's how much you have to have 7 spans thick skin, a leader's, the clan mother or the man leader. Because if the people were to criticize you and throw sharp words at you because of a decision you made, they didn't like it, then when they throw sharp criticism at you, their words will not penetrate your skin and cause your heart to be hurt. And then you will seek revenge. You can't do that. So that's why you have 7 spans thick skin. So you are not allowed to get mad at your people if they criticize you by throwing sharp darts at your heart. And that's a trait that the clan mother and the men leaders have to have. They always have to have kindness and love for their people, no matter what. And my uncle used to give us examples of that. And sometime when I would listen to him, it really made me feel like our leaders were almost like a creator, like almost like they were like almost a perfect people. And you would, I remember I said, gee, I wish when I grow up I could be like a leaders. I could be like them. They're so kind and they're so peaceful and they're so loving people. And then also they said that how you can tell what man is going to be a leader is he respects the elders. And if he went to somebody's house and he's seen that there's not much water in there, this is before there was running water when I was young, then you would go and you take the pail and you go to the well and you go get water for the old people, make sure they got a lot of water, and you don't have to be told. That kind of person is a candidate to become a leader. Or if an old people they have a wood stove and wood isn't too much, then a young man will go take an axe and cut wood, split wood, and haul that wood into the old people's house and pile it up so that they will not get cold if the snow comes. Those kind of people that would do that are the candidates to become leaders. And so the clan mothers are the ones who are chosen to be the one who will select which men will become the leaders too. So they have to keep in mind all those characteristics, and never to get angry. They're always kind and they're community minded. And the other one that they used to say is that a leader cannot have blood stains on their hands. That means they could never have killed somebody, whether it's in the army or in a service. If they had to go to war, and if they kill somebody, that will disqualify them from becoming a leader, because they cannot have no stains of blood to have killed somebody in their life in order to become a leader, and so on. And that's how. Those are some of the things that our grandmother and uncle told us about how do you get leaders. They're really good people, and they're role models every day and every night. And also, you never have to be afraid of the leaders. If you ever have a problem, it doesn't matter if it's late at night, in the middle of the night, you have a big problem, you can go see the chief, wake them up. They don't have hours from 9 to 5 if you're a leader. Whenever there's a problem, you can go see them and you don't have to be afraid. And they'll always open the door for you. And another thing our uncle told us too is that real leaders, whenever there's a big doings going on and there's a big food going on, how you can tell real leaders is they won't go eat. They'll wait till all of the children have eaten, and when all the elders have eaten and the people has eaten, and if there's anything left after the people has eaten, then the real leaders, they'll go and they'll get food to eat, but they won't eat until their people has eaten, because they're like servants of the people. And so that's why even in later years, that was put in my head when I was a young boy, and I always knew that. So there was a time when I became one of those leaders too in our nation, and that's what I used to do. And I never go eat when we have ceremony or any kind of doings. But you know what we used to, even if I didn't go eat, when I was one of those leaders, my son, he was just a little boy, he would come and get my plate, and he'd go get the food and he'd bring it to me because I won't go eat. Or if my son wasn't there, one of the clan mothers would go get the food and bring it to me. They would never allow me to do that. They would always take care of me because I always want to take care of my people as one of the leaders. And I think that's what's missing. Right now there's a train going by because we live by the tracks. So we'll let them go by, then we'll continue. But I think that's what's missing in America, in Canada, and the world. Is leaders are not real leaders anymore. They're popular leaders because for the wrong reasons. They're not put up leaders to secure their families will be strong and be morally good and loving and compassionate and patient. It's all about money. Everything's about money. And that's why our young people are going to suffer and the Mother Earth's going to suffer. So that's what I know about it. Oh, and so also what my uncle and grandmother used to say too is as long as the leaders follows the law and are good people, and if they aren't, they will be warned one time to fix their ways, and if they don't heed the warning one time, they will be warned a second time, and if they don't heed the warning the second time, then the third time is the action. Then the women will take the horns from their head, which is their leadership, away from them. It's called dehorning, or later Americans adopted that and they call it impeachment process. But we call it dehorning because it was here before there was America. And so that's what I know about leadership. What will we do for our people in the future to be strong? Well, I remember when I was a young boy, my grandmother used to make us get up early in the morning before the sun shined in the winter time or in the fall or springtime. It was mostly in the spring and the fall. Now that I remember better, in the spring and the fall, they would make us get up early in the morning, and then they used to tell us to go pick red willow sticks in where the field is and where it's kind of wet, and it's called red willow. And we would bring that back, and then Grandma would tell us to do is take a knife, and we would start at the bottom of each red willow stick and shave the red bark off of it and save the red bark. And you have to take your knife from the bottom up, and then they make a tea in a canner, big canner. This is before the sun comes up. And then they'll burn tobacco. That means they're going to spiritually talk to the Creator and the medicine. And then when they finish boiling that water and it gets kind of warm from the boil, then they take a big dipper, and we have to go outside and we stand. And they would dig a hole in the ground. And you face the east with the hole dug in the ground before each person, each young guy or girl. And they make you drink this red willow tea, a bunch of it. And then I guess what it does is it churns, or it's like an Alka-Seltzer in your stomach, and it cleans your intestinal parts, and it takes all the scum that's been gathered, and then all of a sudden you'll vomit. And they said vomit into that hole that was dug in the front of you. And then But my grandmother used to say, when it starts to come, the vomit, when you're going to start, is that what you call it, vomit, to throw up? Yeah. Then don't hold your nose or block your mouth. I don't know if this is true, but this is what Grandma said. Let the vomit come out and throw up into that hole. Don't block it because it's too strong. Because if you block your nose or hold your mouth, it'll come out your ears. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she told us. So just let it come out. And then after it does that, and it's a lot, will come out too fast. And it goes in a hole. And then after we're done, then they put all the dirt back and they bury that, whatever you vomit, but you're facing the sun outside. Every spring and every fall, they used to make us do that when we were kids. That's all the old grandfather and grandmothers. They used to do that because they were still good Indians that time. They were still good Mohawk, good Onondagas. But you know who does that yet? Mostly today is people who are runners or people who play lacrosse. I think those real lacrosse players do that to prepare them so that they can run fast and are good athletes. But every common young people used to be made to do that. And me, I hate to throw up or to vomit. I don't even have to take that medicine. All I got to do is hear somebody throw it up and I'll throw up too. And I remember that. And so that's what Grandma says. In order to be healthy and strong, everybody in the family, that's what we have to do, is cleanse ourselves and purge ourselves of all that. And my uncle used to say about that medicine, he said, you know that when you take a bath, no matter how clean you think you are, after you finish the bath, there's always a ring in that bath. Well, can you imagine yourself as the tub when you're eating every day and you never clean the tub or clean your innards in your inside? So it builds up pretty soon. You can't hardly walk anymore. You get sick because everything's congested because you didn't clean it. So that's what that red willow tea is. We clean ourselves. Very powerful. And I remember that very clearly because I used to hate that kind of ceremony. But I still do it once in a while too yet. But they used to do it frequently before. And also the other thing, as Grandma said, everybody shouldn't sleep late anymore. Go to bed when the sun goes down and get up when the sun comes up. That's the old-fashioned way. That's how you stay healthy. So anyways, these are a few of the things that I thought that is needed again to hear the old people. But I will tell everybody too that the Canadian and American government made residential schools a few years back in my great-grandfather's time and grandfather's time. And my grandfather went to Carlisle School in Pennsylvania, and others went to Thomasina School in Cattaraugus, and others went to Spanish School in Ontario. And these schools forbid us to speak our language, and they didn't let us follow our spiritual longhouse ways. It was forbidden. And so they made us learn Canadian or American ways. And so hundreds of children were taken there. And so it killed our language, a lot of it, our language, and the way we believe, and the way we practice our day-to-day life, and our traditions. Almost we became extinct. And so now a lot of the old people went to those schools, and they don't know how to talk to their kids or raise their kids hardly anymore the way the traditional Indians supposed to do it. It was almost eradicated. And so in the last 50 years, my age we're trying to revive that and resuscitate that. And so we've been working hard with our young to try to reinstitute our traditional values and spirituality. And so we need to incorporate that in whatever we do. And I know that our medicine people too, the ones who would doctor our sick, they also would recognize that Western medicine has a big value and that we should work together with them. And so whenever somebody got sick, they would tell us to go to see the Western doctor and get examined through x-rays or whatever they do, and then come back. And then we see if we can do something together. And that's how the medicine people that I've worked with all my life has always, they try to be harmonious and work and cooperate together with whatever would help us to heal. And so I hope this few words that I have said is useful and helpful. But we have lots of ceremonies too to help with different sicknesses and to make the mind feel good. All kind of societies, we still have it amongst the Iroquois, which I'm so grateful that some of our grandfathers and grandmothers, not all of them, went to the Carlisle School or residential school. And it's because of them, I guess, that we still have our men leaders and women leaders, and we still have some medicine people, and we still have our language because of their stubbornness. And without their stubbornness, we would not be here anymore as a Mohawk or a Seneca people or a good human being. And so now our job is to relearn and become healthy again. And so that's my small message to everybody here, and I hope you have a good time. Thank you.